Hi, all of my future real estate professionals, and welcome back to Real Estate Careers 101. I'm your instructor, LaShawn Parker. And look, someone asked me a wonderful question from my last video that related to refinancing and pulling out equity in your home. Now, I am going to provide, first of all, thank you for that question, and I am going to provide a response towards the end of the message or the second part of the message. But before I provide a response, I wanted to take this question and use it as a wonderful example. Now, this session and my company is dedicated to talking about careers in real estate as opposed to specific real estate transactions and projects. Now, I am a licensed real estate broker. I can answer certain questions. I actually wrote a book about the home buying process. It's available on my website for $10, but that does answer a lot of information. So I am going to provide a response, but I also wanted to take this as an opportunity to address the difference between a real estate sales broker and a mortgage broker. Now, for all the years that I've sold real estate, people would always come back to me and say, "Hey, LaShawn, I need to refinance my house. Can you help me?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not a mortgage broker. You need to talk with the mortgage broker. Remember the person you worked with the financing?" And they were like, "Oh, no, but I want to work with you." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not a mortgage broker. I'm a sales broker." So listen, there is a difference. However, those two parties work together, but there's different licensing requirements, there's different educational requirements, and there's different functions that each of those roles operate in. So if you're looking at a career in real estate, you should focus on, do you want to work with someone on the sales side, which is locating homes, negotiating contracts, paying attention to dates, walking them through the closing process? Or do you want to work on the mortgage side, which is a loan officer or an underwriter or a loan processor, a loan officer more so, where you are discussing with a potential client about the different loan products, whether it's an FHA, a VA, or a conventional loan to purchase a home, or whether it's for a refinance or a home equity line of credit. So those are two separate roles. And as a consumer, you want to understand who is responsible for what. I can't tell you how many times when I used to sell real estate that people would come to me and think that the agent or the broker was responsible for everything, the appraisal, the inspector, everything. Every person in the transaction has their own job title and their own role, which is why there are so many career opportunities and paths that you could take in residential real estate. Again, in my home buying book, I do break down the 10 key roles that you will encounter in a real estate transaction. So let me answer your question. So right now, what I would recommend you do is to connect with a loan officer. If you want to let me know what state you're in, I may be able to recommend a specialist loan officer to you, but you want to work with a loan officer because when you're looking at refinancing, you want to look at what is your current interest rate versus the interest rate you would get, the current term you're in versus the term you would get, right? You don't want to be in a 30-year mortgage and you've been, in the house for 10 years and now you only owe for 20 more years, and then you refinance and you start the clock all over again and you're back into a 30-year mortgage. Maybe you need to look into a 20-year or a 15-year mortgage, right? So you want to make sure that you talk with a loan officer who's going to be able to really give you a written estimates of what your cost would be, what your interest rate would be, your term, how much you're going to pay over that term. There's so many key things there. Now, in regards to a home equity line of credit or tapping into the equity of your home, I am kind of sensitive on that, right? I'm a person that doesn't like to have a lot of debt. And when you're talking about pulling equity out in your home, I just also always caution people to be cautious. I love the concept of taking equity out of your home and maybe going to buy another piece of real estate or buying an asset that's going to appreciate over time. But a lot of times people take equity out in their loan to do something where in a year or two, they're going to regret it, or they wish they had the money, or maybe down the road, they wish they had the money. I could tell you countless stories. So you want to make sure you talk with your loan officer and make sure that you understand the product. There is a home equity loan that has a fixed term, kind of like a car loan. It may be a fixed term where you're paying principal and interest for a certain amount of time. And then after that time, the loan is paid off. But then there's a home equity line of credit, which could be say a dollar amount. Say you take out, you have $40,000 available to you of your equity, and you can use it whenever you want. kind of like a credit card. Those payments are generally low, but they also are interest only in most cases. So you're not paying down the principal. I've been in situations where people paid the minimum amount, and after 10 years, they were disappointed to find out they never paid the principal amount on their loan, and it was still the full balance that they taken out 10 years before was still due. So make sure you understand why you really need the money. Make sure you understand, is it really going to be a better situation or just a temporary band-aid for an immediate situation? And are there other alternatives for you? Now, a quality loan officer is going to ask you those questions. I always recommend talking with at least three different loan officers and make sure that you find someone who is going to care about you and not just care about meeting their quota or getting paid, right? So you want to make sure that they care about you and what you need the money for, and that they're providing you with good options. But again, a sales broker deals with the purchase of a home, the negotiation, the finding the home, the paperwork, the contract. A loan officer is dealing with the financial side that's going to close out that sale of that home. So I hope that answered your question. And if you have additional questions, feel free to message me personally or put a message in the comments. And I love to get that response for you. Now, after you talk with maybe three loan officers and you still have questions, go to my website, schedule a consultation with me, and I'll provide you with any information that I feel like I can legally provide you. Thanks so much, and I'll talk with you soon.